Welcome to the final unit of the Computational Thinking and Design MOOC-Ed. In this unit, we will discuss testing and evaluating your solution. It's very tempting to skip this phase of the design process sometimes and move on to the next thing. And there's oftentimes a lot of pressure on designers to do just that. However, if we skip this phase, then we have no way of knowing, as we'll hear from our experts, that our designs are effective or that we have actually solved the problem we intended to at the beginning of the process.
The testing process starts at the same time when we are still developing. Like the testers get involved from the beginning with the UX. They have their say in when we're going over the usability designs so that they know what to expect from it too. And then while we are developing, a certain feature, they're off writing testing scenarios for that feature so that when we are ready to hand it off to them, they've already got a list of scenarios they know that they need to run through to make sure they hit every corner of the functionality.
Curriculum Pathways actually encompasses over 1,600 digital resources, and so we often have wondered how can we help teachers better navigate that and surface things. So recently we added recommendations to the website, so similar to Amazon. But we weren't sure the best way to recommend resources. There's a lot of different algorithms. And so we looked at different kinds of algorithms, some based on expertise, some based on data. And we actually put about 6 or 7 different algorithms for that into the product. And then what we're doing is we're tracking which of those recommendations get the most traction. So which ones are teachers clicking on and are actually leading them to finding the resources that they want. So that's a way that we can both look at a lot of different algorithms, test them in real time and see how they are actually being used to identify which ones we want to continue forward and continue making improvements on.
Our job is really to be present and to focus on measurement, but then also make sure that that data comes back and informs the cycle, right, the development of the program. If the data we get back helps the stakeholder make a really effective decision about programmatic changes, then we know that it was good data. And if it answers that initial question about what they want to know about their program. Sometimes it's not the answer they want. For example, if the program's inefficient and the data comes back and says that 60% of your students are failing as a result of participation in this program, it may not be what they want to hear, but the data will definitely help them to make a decision. So as long as it supports decision making, then it's good data.
Everyone wants to be on time or not experience any delay while they're moving from point A to point B. So delay is our primary measure of effectiveness. And beyond that, we look at travel time. For instance, your travel time, you're going to encounter a certain amount of delay, but your travel time reliability, meaning will you hit the same time traveling from point A to point B over your 5 days of the week. So that's another measure that we look at. We do before-after studies. We collect travel time, say, before the project, 6 months before the project, and we do that again after the project to see how effective our solution was.
So over the course of a couple days, I might send a lot of image-based tweets, and then the few days after that, I might send some that have no image and are really text-heavy. Then what I can then go back and do is look and see which tweets got the most likes, which got the most shares, which got the most follows, and did any of those correlate maybe to my end game, which is perhaps like MOOC enrollments. And based on that information, that will kind of inform my work going forward.
Especially with a new tool, we'll send out surveys shortly thereafter and get feedback from people who are actually using it. Sometimes, if we have time before a release, we'll give a beta version to some teachers and have them play around with it and make sure that it's doing what they expect and see if there's any holes that are missing. And then otherwise, we're just always collecting a little bit of data about what people are doing and we can take a look and see if the software is being used in the way that we expected. Oftentimes it's not, and so that gives us ideas for new features or bug fixes and things. One of our apps is called Read Aloud, and it's designed for young students who are learning how to read, and parents can record themselves reading books so that children can listen to the book being read aloud by their parent. And that was the design of the app. But what we heard was a lot of educators wanted to use it in their classroom and have students record themselves reading these books and use it as a way to measure fluency. And it wasn't what we had planned, and so the interface wasn't really kid-friendly, and it wasn't designed to measure fluency. And so instead of actually adding features to that app for that purpose, we built a new app called Reading Records, which is designed to capture student voice for measuring fluency, designed specifically for that purpose.
Evaluators are typically looked at as accountability and making sure you're doing what you said you're supposed to do. In developmental evaluation, it's more of a facilitator for improvement, because my job as an evaluator is not to be the gotcha or provide data for the gotcha. It's really to provide data that you use to inform your decision making. When I provide you the data, it's not a report that you put on the shelf. It's something that you're expected to really look at and really implement. So the closeness and the partnership is a huge part of that type or that approach to evaluation.
In addition to the activities this week, at the end of the unit, you will find an end-of-course survey which we are asking all course participants to complete before downloading your certificate of completion. A certificate for 10 hours will appear automatically once you have completed all of the course requirements. Additional certificates for micro-credentials will be emailed out once you have completed all of the requirements for the micro-credentials. Thank you very much for your participation in the Computational Thinking and Design MOOC-Ed. I look forward to reviewing your feedback and engaging in my own process of evaluation and revision for the next round of this course.